Life sucks and then you die. I remember first hearing that back in high school. I can't think of a more pessimistic or hopeless statement. And I remember when I first heard it, first of all thinking it was funny, but then the more I thought about it, it kind of got in my head, and I thought, man, I don't want to have that thought. I don't want to have that thought in my head anymore. That feels wrong. It feels, like I am taking on this hopeless, nihilistic approach to life. And if I hold on to that thought for too long, that will be my experience. I think that thought, or something like it, life sucks and then you die, has been around probably since the beginning of humanity. I think that some caveman probably said that to the other caveman as they were being cornered by a saber-toothed tiger. So I don't think it's a unique thought, and I don't think it's something to fear either. I do think that it tells us a lot about our expectations of life and a lot about our personalities and who we are as beings. What's really fascinating is that people are more motivated by pain than they are by pleasure. So when you think about wealth, fame, all the hedonistic behaviors you can think about, you put them all in one big bucket, on one side of the ledger. And then you put pain on the other side of the ledger. And pain and fear are more powerful than love and all that good stuff for motivating people. I find that really, really interesting because it's played out every day in our society, and people wonder why their lives are not getting where they want to go. And more often than not, it has something to do with the fact that their fear of pain is paralyzing them to not take the actions that they know are in their own best interest. It's this fear of the pain that is probably more powerful than the pain itself. Like the idea of going to the dentist is much worse than going to the dentist. You know what I mean? Like they give you Novocaine, hell, they even give you gas. How bad can it be? How bad can it be? Nevertheless, lots of people really, really fear going to the dentist. I was one of them when I was a kid, man. I just hated the idea of going to the dentist. The same comes with dieting. The pain of not eating what you want when you want is greater than the fear of dying of heart disease or being obese or whatever, diabetes. So it's really interesting how this thing works out because, of course, you've got the delayed fear and pain versus the immediate fear and pain. Now, there's a whole nother set of motivations for you. But I think that we got it all wrong. I think that the truth of the matter is it's our belief about fear and pain that paralyzes us and not actually what it is in practice. I would stipulate that in order for the vast majority of us to achieve greatness in our lives, to achieve financial security, to have a healthy relationship, to live the kind of lifestyle that we want, we must be willing to not only experience fear and pain, but we've got to learn to embrace it. We've got to learn that the life sucks part is not a negative thing. It's actually the pathway to the pleasure that you really want, to the happiness, to the wealth, to the fame, to whatever it is you're looking for. Going through the sucks and facing the sucks is what gets you there. And you're not going to get there without it. I mean, unless you're, got rich parents and they just gave you a bunch of money. For the most part, you're not going to achieve the things that you want in life without experiencing some pain. And that means you're going to have to go through the fear of the pain, face it, and come through to the other side. Fear and pain are such interesting concepts because fear itself is a construct of the mind. It's a safety mechanism, obviously, that was created, genetically, probably, 100,000 or 200,000 years ago for survival. But now in our modern world, it overreacts to everything. In the other videos, I've talked about how it's so much more prevalent in women, because I think that, ancestrally, they were more vulnerable to terrible things happening to them. They needed to have a heightened sense of fear. And of course, in our modern society, this fear does not work well for them. In fact, it makes them neurotic. And that neuroses causes them a great deal of discomfort. It makes them very unhappy in their lives. But what men experience as fear is sometimes expressed as laziness. So rather than going out and doing something that we want, let's say you want to get a better job or make more money, you'll think of all the hardships that you're going to have to experience in order to achieve that goal. Maybe you got to get some more education. Maybe you're going to have to apply at a bunch of places. Maybe you're going to have to do some things that you don't want to do in order to get to the place where you want to be. And the possibility that you might fail is very, very significant. That fear of potential failure keeps you glued to your couch, clicking through the TV or playing a video game or whatever it is. And again, that fear is not real. It's just a construct of the mind, but it's so powerful because it prevents you from getting the things that you want. And once you understand that that fear is just a ghost, it's not a reality, and you can set it aside, well, you are empowered to achieve almost anything that you want. One of the great things about my, midlife transition, where I didn't change sexes, no. My going from my job and my house and my wife to no job, no house, no wife, was that I feared the loss of all that stuff. Like, that paralyzed me in those situations. The fear of the loss of my job paralyzed me in a job that I hated, because I was afraid that I couldn't make any more money doing something else. The fear of losing the status that came from that job and from that house, living in that big, beautiful neighborhood, kept me frozen to it. It owned me. It was no longer a situation where I was in control. The fear actually dictated to me my behaviors. And then the fear of losing my wife and my marriage, again, kept me frozen in a situation that I knew wasn't good for me. I knew I could do better. I knew that my life demanded more than what I was getting in that moment. I knew that my potential as a human being was being stifled because of this fear of losing the job, losing the house, losing the wife. Nevertheless, I hung in there, fearful to the end, until it was all gone. Then came the pain of losing the job, the pain of losing the house, the pain of losing the wife. And here's the thing, here's the conundrum, is the pain was nowhere near as strong as the fear. The fear was so much more powerful than the actual pain of going through it. In fact, I would suggest that without that pain, without experiencing it firsthand, I would not be able to say that I have a better life now by far than anything I could have even imagined a decade ago. I could not have imagined the life that I'm living a decade ago. So I would implore you to become aware of the fear in your own life and what keeps you frozen in your own place where you're not able to get things going and get moving in the direction that you want, and identify what those fears are. And realize that you think there's some pain beyond it. You think there's something back behind that fear that's freezing you. And I guarantee you, whatever you think that pain is, it's nowhere near as bad as what you believe. It is my sincere belief that pain and fear, to a certain extent, are nothing more than a vehicle that gets you from where you are to where you need to be. It's been my experience that you can either voluntarily take this vehicle and make that trip to where you need to go, or for many people, very frequently, they're thrown into this vehicle like two guys jumping on the street, putting a bag over your head, throwing you in a van, and taking you where you need to go. Life just seems to do that to you. It will just push you to where you need to go. Now, it's far better when you do this on your own terms. It's far better when you decide when, where, and how you're going to go. If life does it for you, it's going to be an unpleasant experience. It's going to be far more unpleasant than if you just take control of it and do it yourself. Debu, what are you doing over there? Come back. Come on. Oh my God. It's been raining a lot and the water's a bit deeper than it typically is. Fortunately, we're in a relatively shallow area. Although I can see it's going to get deep right here. Go easy, pal. It's going to get deep. Oh, he made it. All right. So, like Debu, no fear. You know, it's that whole Forrest Gump thing. That's one thing I love about Forrest Gump. It was his ignorance that gave him so much courage, you know? And if we could all be blessed with that kind of ignorance about the things that we are afraid of, because it's in all of our intelligence, all of our perceptions, our brains, our belief systems, that we think that we know what we're doing, that we know the right way, that we're going to be safe, that we limit ourselves so much. We just limit ourselves to such a degree. And if you can just look that fear in the face and embrace whatever pain that comes with it, you'll find that the pain is so much easier and the benefits are so much greater. One more thing on pain. When you're experiencing it, if you resist it, if you push back against it, if you try to act like it's not happening, if you try to do anything other than just sit with it and embrace it and just experience it wholly, just fully embrace it and accept the pain, whatever it is, it gets 10 times worse. When you just accept the pain, it loses its power, it loses its energy, it loses the extra sharpness. It becomes more of a dull thud rather than a sharp stab. So I strongly suggest, as you're going through whatever challenges that lie before you and you experience some kind of pain, don't push back against it psychologically or emotionally. Just accept it, embrace it, sit with it, allow it to flow through you, and understand that once you get to that place of acceptance, you've gone through the darkest part and the light is right in front of you. It's coming. The light is coming. But the more you push back against it, the deeper and darker that pain gets. So embrace it. Allow yourself to fully experience it. When you do that, it loses its energy and you move through it much more quickly. All right, you guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it makes sense to you. Let me know what you think in the comments. Looks like it's going to rain, so I have some fear and pain around getting all my equipment wet, so I need to get inside. But thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. I'll see you next time. Until then, stay healthy, and if you can, be a better man.